Your comfort zone is killing your potential. You're not stuck, you're just way too comfortable. And I think a lot of people say they're stuck when they're really just comfortable and they like where they are. And I don't mean comfortable in a good way. I mean comfortable enough to stay where they are. Like, you might hate your job, you might hate your routine, your day in and day out life. You might hate the way your life is going in general, but apparently you don't have it enough to change it. And that sounds harsh, but think about it. I mean, most people know at least one thing they should probably do differently. And you have a couple things in your life. I have quite a few in mind that I want to change. Yet I feel more comfortable in avoiding those and not doing something about it. And maybe you know you should work out. Maybe you know you should stop wasting hours on your phone. Maybe you know you should apply for that job, start a business, or leave that relationship you're in, or study harder, save more money. The list can go on for hours. And whatever it is, you usually know. The problem is changing is uncomfortable, and people are scared of being in uncomfortable situations. Staying the same, it's very familiar, and you can kind of just ease into that. And you don't know how much better your life could be because familiarity feels better. So we choose familiar pain over unfamiliar discomfort, which will lead us to so much better. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. People live the same life for years because the life they have is just tolerable enough. It's not good, it's not fulfilling, it's just tolerable. They can handle it. And I think that's the dangerous part about that because your life completely falls apart. And when that happens, you're forced to change. But if it's only kind of bad or it's a little uncomfortable, you can stay there forever. And that's where people get trapped. The majority of the population, that's exactly what I see. They wake up, they go to work, they come home, they watch TV or scroll on their phone, they eat, they sleep, and they just repeat a process. And it's not meaningful. It's just a purposeless life. And then every few months, they have this moment where they're like, man, I need to get my crap together and change my life. They get motivated for like a week. They do a little progress, don't see any results, and they go right back to the exact same routine that they were living. Nothing changes in their life. Because motivation wasn't the problem, comfort was. Comfort sucked them into this hole that they feel safe in. You were still able to escape the discomfort whenever you wanted. The gym gets hard, you can go home. Studying gets boring, open up your phone, open up TikTok and scroll. Business gets stressful, just put it off for a week. Conversation gets uncomfortable, avoid it. Like these things that I'm talking about. We can escape them easily and we can get away from that discomfort instantly, almost instantly. And then after the fact, we wonder why we don't grow or we don't change. And you need to understand this because it took me a long time to truly get this in my skull. Growth is uncomfortable, and there's really no way around that. If you want to get stronger, your body has to be stressed. If you want to get smarter, you have to spend time being confused. If you want to become more confident, you have to do things that make you nervous and make you uncomfortable. If you want to build something, you have to risk failing. There's an uncertainty there, and you need to just jump into it and take the risk. Everything you want asks you to become uncomfortable at first. And I think this is where people get the order wrong. They think, once I feel confident, I'll do it. Once I feel motivated, I'll start doing that. Once I know I won't fail, I'll take that risk. But you usually get those things after you start. You don't become confident and then walk into the gym. You walk into the gym feeling awkward, feeling unfit and unsatisfied with who you are, and then eventually you become confident through that. You don't become fearless and then start a business. You start while you're scared. Screw things up, you figure out a process, and then it becomes less scary and it becomes more understandable. The discomfort is the entry fee into getting what you want, and you cannot skip that. I've started thinking that maybe one of the best things that I can do for myself is intentionally make my life a little less comfortable. And I think that's pretty important to change for the better. And I'm not saying don't make your life miserable and live a terrible lifestyle that's going to just honestly take you down the wrong route. Just do things that are harder in the right ways. Put your phone down in another room and go to the gym when you don't feel like it. Wake up when your alarm goes off. Maybe even wake up a little earlier and change your routine for the better. So you can give yourself more time to do things throughout the day and have a better wake up routine when you start your day. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Do one thing you keep telling yourself you'll start next week. Because every time you run towards something uncomfortable instead of away from it, there's something that crazy happens. You teach yourself something, and you teach yourself that discomfort is not an emergency. You can survive being tired or being embarrassed or having rejection in your life or just failure in general. You can survive not knowing what you're doing, right? All of that being said, once you realize that, you become a lot harder to stop. You become a beast. And because most of the things holding you back aren't actually dangerous, they're just uncomfortable. And we treat discomfort like danger. That's the problem. So if you feel stuck right now, don't immediately ask, what's wrong with my life? You just need to ask yourself, what have I become too comfortable in accepting? Because there's probably something in your life. There's quite a few. Like I was saying in the beginning of the video, I got quite a few in my life. Something you've complained about long enough that it has basically become part of your personality. Something you keep saying you're going to change, but you're not. You're not taking that step to change that. At some point, you either have to change it or accept that this is what you are choosing. And that's the uncomfortable part, that decision. It's a make or break right there. You are choosing more of your life than you probably want to admit. Not everything. Obviously, life happens and things can get jumbled up, and I understand that. But things happen to you that you cannot control. And there's a lot of things that you keep participating in every day that maybe you shouldn't be participating in. So just try and change a little bit. Do some things differently for the better. Obviously, I want to make that clear. But do those uncomfortable things. Go for a run, make a call, send that email, delete an app, apply for a job, start a project, whatever it is in your life. Because the life you want probably is not the one that you want to be comfortable in, if that makes sense. It's probably on the other side of a bunch of uncomfortable things you already know you should be doing, but you're not. And eventually you have to decide, do you want comfort or do you want change in your life? Because most of the time, you do not get both. All right, cheers, boys.